Vice Mayor McCurby.
Yeah, and it's just perspective too. I'll just add this to what Councilman Rivas said. When you look at the perspective, old and new, and we're just making a distinction between where we're at. 20% of the general fund that everyone's arguing about money is immediately spent on those things that we're talking about. That's the structural issue. People need to understand that. So it's just perspective. It doesn't mean that, you know, having a parade is going to break the bank, and it doesn't mean that spending $10,000 here is going to solve that problem. But it does give us an understanding of where we are and what we are up against. Unless we can grow our city and get more tax revenue, I think that the last, and this is my personal opinion, I believe, and I came in here for many years, all the way back in the 80s I've been coming in here, but I firmly believe that the trajectory that we were on was to hope for a bailout. It's written in some of those documents in 2016 that says, well, hopefully things will change and become more favorable, but they haven't. And so we really have to deal with those structural issues because we want to get our city back on that track of prosperity. And that's really just perspective. Scott, also perspective, if we could pave 250 miles of road in 1 year, that would be awesome.
That would be really great.
We're getting up to 30, which is pushing the limits of our staff and what we can do. And it'll take 10 years to catch up the roads at that pace. And if we stop or we pull back on that, we're going to continue to have, everyone in the city is going to continue to have trouble getting around. So we really have to devote ourselves to that. This is a big part of what we do in the city. We got to make sure we have our roads. I wanted to say also there's a good creative comment here about what we could spend the money on. If you go back and look at the YouTube from last meeting when we talked about it, we talked about it's also to get items to sell. It's also to get items for helping students to get to an event and build up some of our other events. So there's a lot in that. It was somewhat vague, but I love the idea that if we save the money that we just buy bullets. Very good. I like that. We'll be ready. The city did earn $2,000 on Saturday from the car show. So yeah, there's a drop in the bucket, right? But it's something. I wanted to say something about the event, and it was just a highlight to summarize on the car show. It was an amazing event. The American Conservatory is building quite a resume. They recently just raised almost $12,000 for the Randy Hoppert family. They're working to help raise that money with some other partners. They're lifting up the downtown. This is not their first downtown event. So they're trying creative ways to do that, and they're really committed to that. They have created some local scholarships for students and athletes, and they help the Wenatchee Boosters to save a bunch of money to help their athletes. They're supporting our Heritage 100 and our 250 events. It's really important. One of the events that they sponsored and helped us with last year, after Charlie Kirk was murdered for free speech, we had a faith event, and it was against violence. And it wasn't well attended, which is very disappointing, but, you know, statistically, the stats now are that 25% of people that are far left-leaning think it's okay to be violent. And it's even worse if you go to the younger generation. 40% of the younger generation right now that lean left, and that means Democrat Party and radicals and progressives, think it's okay to be violent. We got a big problem in our culture. And I know that the American Conservatory was just trying to stand up and get awareness, and let's all get back to nonviolence. It's just important that we all recognize that that's a problem, because the media has been, and the AIs and those things are manipulating things and causing people to do things they probably normally wouldn't do. And so let's help each other out. Let's not be violent. Let's make sure that we keep our rhetoric the way it ought to be, and it's uplifting and for unity and creative. Let's not live on the side of destruction. Let's live on the side of creation. And there was some good unity in here tonight, but it's a challenge throughout the country. And it's not just in our community, it's everywhere. And we just need to be aware of it, and we need to help each other through that. We shouldn't be violent. That's what I want to finish with.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, the worst part about being the mayor and going last is everybody takes your talking points.